Welcome to Anything But Hold'em once again for the Sunday Razz. We've played this tournament every week for the past 3 weeks now, and I had a huge amount of success in it. Last week I busted early, but ended up sticking around railing friend of the stream, Steve-O Pick, who went deep, took second place. Good on you, buddy. Nice job, nice job. Well done. Hopefully I can go deep this week. I've already had one big win against somebody who did not seem to understand what game we were playing. Batty Joe there on my right ended up capping me on a couple of streets with clearly the worst hand. So not too sure what was happening with that hand, but hey, what can I say? I probably shouldn't have folded the 4-6-6 actually. That's a hand you probably want to play some in Razz. You can sort of ignore the second six a lot of times. Steve-O, good to see you, man. You on one of the other tables again tonight? I didn't actually look at the list yet. Steve-O, yes, good job, man. Good luck, dude. Good luck, dude. I'll see you at the final table, buddy. With any luck. Stream should be kicking off here in about 35 seconds or so. In later position, I might use that 4 to bully people, but didn't really feel it at that point. And we're live. We should be live now. I didn't quite get in right off the start, but getting there now. Definitely in with a 7-5 deuce, I think. Especially against Batty Joe, who had such a bad hand the other time. Although deuce obviously is a much better hand than what he was showing before. Jack is obviously not the best card in the world for us, so we're going to get out of the way of this hand. No reason to put any more chips in for the time being. Ace 10-7. I could definitely raise just on the power of the ace if I wanted to. Don't think it's a hand that I want to call and get involved in. The 10-7's too weak to try to play out. It'd really only be one that I would try to raise and take as opposed to expect to play out. So the Jack 6-8 there, obviously not really worth playing. Looks like Batty Joe's figured out how to play the game a little bit better than when he was up playing against me earlier. Still ended up losing the pot to Great Princess, so he obviously hasn't figured it out quite so well yet. We'll go with the paired deuce. The king's obviously making this hand far less attractive now. With the king on that draw, it's a easy fold. That king is my second throwaway card, so I need to basically go runner, runner, runner to get a hand at that point. It's runner, 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 drawing to a 7, which is 2 above the nut hand, so, I mean, it's not really ever going to be profitable, I think, to do that. Of course, as a reminder, playing Razz, which is a low game. 5-4-3 deuce ace is the best hand you can have. Suits and obviously straights do not matter. You're just looking for the 5 lowest cards that don't match. So 5-4-3 deuce ace is the nuts. Whether they're all the same suit or not is immaterial. That's one key difference from the deuce to 7 that we were playing earlier, where if they were all the same color, it made your hand a flush. Here, there is no such thing as a flush, and all the same color is the same as all rainbow. Other than the application of the poker hands for straights and flushes in deuce to 7, the rest of the concept is pretty simple. You're looking to build the lowest hand you can. So obviously in a in a stud format scenario, which is what Razz is, it's based on the 7-card stud format, you're looking to have 3 very low starting cards to start. So 3 deuce 1 would be your sort of nut starting hand, I suppose. But really, any 3 cards below 5 are worth looking at as a nut hand in this game to start with. Because 5-4-3, if you draw deuce ace on your next 2 cards, make nuts just as well as 3 deuce 1 do when you draw 5-4 on your next 2 cards. So it's really immaterial what order you end up getting them in. So if you have 3 cards that are lower than 5, you absolutely want to be in the pot without question. After that, of course, your hands start to get more speculative. I would say anytime that you have 3 cards below 8, you want to seriously consider being in the pot. Conversely, I would say anytime you have 2 cards over 9, there's no reason whatsoever for you to consider being in the pot, even if the other card's an ace. There's just no reason to bother spending money on hands like that. You can certainly get away with having 1 high card in your first 3, like a king or a queen, if your other 2 are particularly good, i.e. below 5. So, a king deuce ace, yeah, go ahead and play that. Even a king 5-4, go ahead and play that one. But king 7 deuce, no, that one's probably not something that you want to play. You might go like you saw the hand that I did that was 7-7 deuce, I think, it was 7 deuce deuce. You might go ahead and play that one, I think, because it's only a single card that's out of range. This is obviously not a Razz hand. We're getting out of here. So yeah, I mean things like that. But those are some sort of general rules to go by. As you draw, obviously it matters what you have, and it matters what you see coming out on the draws of other people, how you proceed, and how you value your hand from there. But that's a good sort of guide for start hands. If you've got 3 cards under 7, you probably want to be playing the pot. If you've got 2 cards under 7, you probably want to be seriously considering being in the pot. If you've got 2 cards under 5, you absolutely want to be in the pot. As I say, conversely, if you've got 2 cards over 9, you absolutely do not want to be in the pot. If you've got 1 card over 9, you probably want to seriously consider whether you want to be in the pot. And if you have 1 card over 9, your other 2 cards should probably be in the nut range, I think. So this is a nut starting hand. I absolutely am playing this one. Good evening, Hammer. You're up late tonight. Good to see you here so late in the evening. We are railing both myself and also Steve-O Pick, who went deep in this one last week and ended up finishing second. So hopefully Steve-O and I will meet on the final table tonight. That would be awesome. Registration closed a few minutes back, so the final thing is set. We have 18 people in the tournament, so 3 will pay out. First prize $9, second prize $5.40, third prize $3.60. Still early days. I'm sitting in 3rd place. Steve-O's right underneath of me in 4th place. So we're both doing reasonably well so far tonight. I have not busted yet, which is a good thing. Flushes, of course, don't matter in this game, but the fact that I've got the 9-8 there is probably not friendly enough for me to play. As you can see by the snow cam, my parking lot is still covered in snow. It is very, very, very cold out there tonight. There's a severe cold warning on for most of southern Alberta today and this evening, so it's not terribly fun out there. I'm quite happy to be sitting in my centrally heated house playing the online pokers for everybody to watch and enjoy. Serving up a heap and helping a lowball poker with the Sunday Razz. That's what we're doing. I hope Hammer had a good example of the Sunday roast today in the UK. I hope you scarfed down some lovely roast beef, some wonderful Yorkshire puddings, and some nice boiled carrots and potatoes. I hope you had just a wonderful Sunday roast tonight. So we're down to 17 people left. One more person busts, and we will be down to 2 tables. At which point I might actually put both tables up on stream. We got Steve-O's table up, railing him now on my screen. It's a shame you didn't make it into this one, Hammer. I'm going to get out of this one, I think. I'm only here because I was bringing, so I think I'm going to get out of it. And wow, there we have Steve-O. Gonna do a little stream editing magic here, folks. Gonna fold that out. 377, probably not the strongest Razz hand in the world. So there we go. We can rail Steve-O as well at the same time. Well, I got to tell you, there's not a ton of UK cuisine that I would recommend to, people as wonderful. The fish and chips obviously are well known and can be quite good if you get them at the right place. But the Sunday roasts, the roast beef with the Yorkshire puddings that you guys do are quite yummy. Ho ho! Nice one on Fatty. Good job, Fadian. Fadian played in the tournament this afternoon, the Deuce to Seven tournament we had this afternoon that Rosalind underscore AKKA won, and I placed second in. We finally let Ken Lowe cash in one of our tournaments, which was awfully nice of him. I was a bit worried that he was gonna get angry and go away and huff and leave us since he bubbled both of the tournaments that we've had so far. Yeah. That sounds like a load of fun, Hammer, both for you and your neighbors. Now, this is the sort of pretty little Razz hand that you want to get involved in, obviously. Deebum's obviously working on a good hand, but is not as good as the one that I have. So let's cap out the early rounds if he wants to. The King's obviously not my favorite hand, but neither is pairing his four. We're absolutely check calling here, without a question. Well, we've actually bricked out on our draws. I think we're going to get this bet through, frankly. I think he's going to fold, but I'm not 100% certain about that. King High is no good. Yeah, I knew King High was no good. But I mean, I absolutely had to bet on that, and we were drawing. Um, we basically drew out as badly as we possibly could in that hand. I bet there because at that point I knew I couldn't win the hand anymore. Well, I in theory couldn't win the hand anymore because I was queen was going to be the best that I was going to get, and he was jack at worst. Um, not necessarily at worst, but from what I could see, jack. So I had to. The only way I was winning that was by betting. Steve-O's got a nice card showing with the ace up there. Nice raise on Mr. Wibbles there. Oh, nice draw with the deuce. Good fold by Mr. Wibbles. Steve-O picks up a small pot. Nice one, buddy. I think we're calling through here. DBIM seems to have a bit of an aggressive streak to them. We aren't necessarily ahead here, but I don't really think that we can not call. We are actually necessarily ahead now, which is what we want to see. So we're still ahead, so we're still going to keep betting. I would guess that DBIM, well, I figured they'd be smart enough to figure out how far behind they were, but no such luck. We are now 6-5 at 3-1. We're absolutely winning this pot. There's no question. We were valuing the crap out of those last two streets. Calling me a fish when I was clearly playing the better hand there, it kind of makes me giggle. So we'll let him have his little fun. Yes, 1 out of 2 bluffs is a pretty good return. This is obviously not a hand that I can continue with. Not really interested in the Jack 10 either, thanks very much. We occasionally have car alarms go off in our neighborhood as well. It's can be quite annoying. I don't. Mine has never gone off like that, but I figure one of these days it's bound to. Nice hand by the princess up there. 86. I don't think I need to be too terribly excited about a 10-6. I think I could probably potentially build a winning hand out of it. So I'm going to keep seeing some streets. I can even bet here and potentially take it down, but I don't think with my 10 showing I'm ever going to take it down against the boards that they have, so it's going to be lighting money on fire for the most part. With the queen, that's just getting worse and worse and worse as we go in, so I'm really not, I'm pretty much out of this hand at any opportunity that somebody bets, because there's no way that I win. Yeah, the king is never winning. A little surprising that Larissa didn't go for some value at some point in that hand. Um, we have to bring that up and have a quick look at how she built that hand, because yeah, I mean, she was 10-8 on 6th. I'm surprised that on 5th or 6th she didn't try to get some value on that hand, frankly. Alrighty, well, we're on break, so I am going to go off and do some custodial duties. I shall return. I am back here on Anything But Hold'em, playing the Sunday Razz, as we always do at this time on Sunday. Yes, I think Western Canada is probably far enough away from you. hammer so that the car alarm won't bother me. I was wondering what that annoying honking in the distance was, though. Now you've told me. It's nice to know. It was quiet until your damn car alarm started going off there, Hammer. My grandfather actually came from Weston-super-Mare down in the south west of England, I guess it would be. I think I like the ace-3 portion of this hand, so I'm going to call through and just see what happens. Plus, it's D-Bloom. I have a little suspicion that at some point they're going to do something hyper-aggressive against me with a hand that's worse than the one that I have. So I think that I want to be involved in pots with them. However, I don't think I need to be in pots with Severianen, whom I recognize from this game in past weeks and as a pretty solid player. So I don't think we need to really be getting involved there. With the King Jack, check calling here pretty much all the time. I'm check folding here pretty much all the time. Eight Jack 10, not really worth getting involved in. This will be a bring in fold sort of situation. Bring in fold. I mean, I was developing okay, but I'm not developing as good as great. And I think that yeah, that's where D-Boom gets out of the pot. Hearts don't matter to us. We don't have 3 cards under 5, but we do have 3 cards under 7, which is a pretty strong place to start. Not surprised that DBIM is going a bit crazy on us. We don't need to keep going with their craziness. We are ahead of their best possible hand at this point. We're ahead of Great Princess's best possible hand at this point, but I don't think we need to go crazy until we actually have the best hand, which we no longer necessarily do. And we could certainly bet at this point, but I would say that the probability that we face a check raise from DBIM here is about 175,000%. So we're just going to check behind, see what 7th or 6th brings for everybody. Check call Great Princess. Oh, very cool, Hammer. Yeah, I've actually never been there, but I don't think my 87 is ever good against Princess. I think it could very well be good against DBIM, but I don't think it's ever good against Princess. IDK Vito. We don't play casino games here. We play poker, which is a game of skill. PokerStars be the best poker game out there, is my suggestion. Although Party Poker, 888, Full Tilt, they're all certainly very reasonable sites to play on as well. PKR, places like that. Let's have a quick look at the standings now that we've come back from break. Steve-O's up in 7th place. I'm down in 10th now. Great Princess is up top. Canadian Great Princess. Jones and Penny. Jones and Penny is 2nd from Canada as well. Shuriaga, 1954 from Kazakhstan, is in the 3rd and final money spot at the moment. Thank you for taking care of all the administrative duties in chat, Hammer. I very much appreciate that. It is tough to keep my eye on chat, but it's pretty tough to type in chat while I'm doing all the streaming stuff. Just a reminder what we're doing here, of course. This is the Sunday Razz, playing a $1.10 Razz tournament. Razz is a lowball poker game. You're looking for the lowest 5 cards that you can get in your hand. The person with the lowest 5 cards wins the hand. Unlike deuce to 7 lowball, straights and flushes do not count against you in this game. So your best hand, the nut hand, is a 5, a 4, 3 deuce ace, and it doesn't matter what suits those are. That's Razz in a nutshell. And if all you know about Razz is that you should play your cards when they're low and you should not play your cards when they're high or paired, you'll go pretty far in a Razz tournament, frankly. That is 98% of successful Razz play, knowing and understanding how and when to do that. The edge and variance in Razz is very much smaller in a game like Razz. Yeah, it really depends on where you live, Vito. If you're an American, it is not legal for you to play the poker or the casino games, I'm pretty sure, online for real money. But I think most other places in the world, you can play both poker or casino games online for real money now. I probably should have played that Deuce 3 Jack, actually, now that I think about it. I was sort of on auto play mode as I was talking about the casino games, but I probably should have. I probably should be playing that, to be honest. It's a bit nitty of me to be folding that. Um, so yeah, in Dallas, Texas, Vito, I'm afraid that you're probably SOL. I hear that Bodog potentially offers poker for money down there, but I honestly don't know what the deposit and withdrawal options. Yeah, Bovada. I'm sorry, Bodog is old. The Bovada. I couldn't really say whether it's a good site or not. I've never played on it, and it's. I honestly don't know what the deposit and withdrawal situation for an American would be with something like that. I do know. I've heard that some people in the U.S. do play on Bovada. Um, And as far as I know, unless you're in New Jersey or Nevada, it is the only legal or semi-legal or quasi-legal or accessible poker for money site that you can find in the U.S. Now, of course, if you're in Nevada or New Jersey, you can play on WSOP.com, I believe, now. Um, There might be party poker as well. There might be party poker as well, but there's that might be party poker might be affiliated with WSOP in some way. That way, I'm not 100% sure. But I do know that Nevada and New Jersey WSOP.com plays real money games. So I watch Mr. Somerville play them all the time. Sand we're going to get involved in, obviously, I think, especially with the way it goes. That ace is not terribly friendly, but the other people don't necessarily know that. I think I need to bet, but it's worth seeing what the next streets bring. So we're not really developing a hand that we can play at this point. We got three pair, queens, fives, and aces. Not a really good hand in a Razz game. What are you gutted about, Steve-O? What happened? What happened, buddy? You still got a reasonable stack going. 2750. That's not too bad. Seven's a decent draw. I think we're going to bet. The king obviously bites, but so does the five for Larissa. I don't think we need to keep loading this pot at this point, though. Larissa technically could be ahead of us now. Probably not anymore, but I think probably checking it down is the way to go here. Yeah, Larissa would have been playing a jack there. We're out of the king-queen hand, obviously. Oh, Steve-O's maxing bets out with the deuce showing on his table. Drew the five. He's trying to decide if he wants to call. My guess is that means he's got a five buried, and he's paired his five. Otherwise, I don't see why he'd be thinking this long with a five deuce, unless he's disconnected, which would be a horrible thing at this point. Play the 5-6-7, I think. It's not a nut hand, but it's going to win. Nice call, Steve-O. Oh, brutal drawouts, though. Brutal drawouts. Alrighty, so his table closed. I will get the other table up shortly. I think we're out of that one now. Alrighty. We're going to try to get him. We're going to try to get that other table up here without... Hey, there we go. Our Steve-O's table. So we're down to 16 players left. Both tables are full of 8. These are the final 2 tables in play. Yes, playing Razz and Stud at the same time, really bad idea. Really, really, really bad idea. It will confuse the crap out of you. It'll make your brain hurt. And worse, you'll lose most likely both games you're playing. At least that's always been my experience. Alrighty, thanks very much, Hammer. Glad you could come and hang around. Good to see you here. Great that you. Always great to see you. Hope to see you again next week as we're playing. Yeah, no doubt, Hammer. Hopefully it'll stay quiet. been kind of up and down for me tonight. I've had almost 4,000 chips at one point, 2,500 star stack, so we're not doing horribly at this point, but because it's been kind of up and down. Been involved with some pots where we've won big and we've lost big as well. It's not usually my style. Usually I'm more of a low ball kind of guy, and you know, take small pots here and there. Never lose a big pot, never take a big pot really. Is the way I usually play. Just kind of chip it up, small, 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 small. Um, it's been a bit different today. Obviously raising because of the 10 to the king. I'm going to keep the pressure on because with the king, there's no reason to think that we're still not better. Um, wow. Pretty remarkable call down there by Larissa. Shocking, actually, to be honest, but oh well. Happens. Tournament's down to 15 now as we lost a player on the other tables. This is a hand I'm definitely going to get involved with. Feeling pretty good about it at this point. Obviously don't have quite a made hand yet. But I think building a pot at this point is a good idea, or taking it down now. I think if they want to draw, I think they're gonna make them pay for it. So I'm still drawing to a better hand because 9 is the best hand that Jones can be on right now. That said, Jones could in theory be drawing to a 5, so I have to bear that in mind. So I've just hit my 87. Um, actually absolutely could value bet here. Um, there's no reason why I can't just check behind here as well. And I think at this point, checking behind's the way to go. I don't really think anything worse is going to call me, and I don't think better is going to fold, frankly. So I don't think that there's any point of a value bet there. We're involved in this hand as well, obviously with the wow, the drawing's just going horribly. Come on, raise me again, Sever. Curious to see what Sever was actually playing there. H-7-5-4-3 to my 64. I'm obviously not continuing with King, Queen, Queen. That's steaming pile of stinking dog poo in Razz terms. Obviously play that in a stud high game, but this is not stud high. The kings and queens have no value, and the pair has even less value, so it's just something that we need to get out of dodge with, basically. That pot moved me up to 7th place. 35-65 points. Chips. Points. I don't know why points are on my brain today. I think that's the second or third time I've made that mistake today. King 4-10. I don't really think there's any reason to get involved with that. I might have raised with the 4 had it folded around to me with the 10 king in front, but with this I'm just not going to get involved. Steve-O takes down a small pot with his 5. Raise and take it. And then gets another 5 on the next hand and is the bring in with that 5. Remarkable how that can happen sometimes. I think we're in with the 5 deuce 9. The 9's obviously not something that we're thrilled with, although we're a lot more thrilled with it now that we're down to just Severiana and ourselves. The hand is not over until 7th Street, Severianen. You must remember that. No problem, Steve-O. Glad you're back. Glad you're back, buddy. Hammer had to go off to bed. I was actually surprised to see Hammer here at this time of night from the UK. It's like the middle of the night, but car alarm, I'm guessing. Five, 4, 10. Fairly nice looking hand. The 10's obviously a bit of a throwaway, but the 5-4 nut cards, so it's worth potentially pursuing. Especially with the 9 king queen king behind us. You can fold this one out. If the 3 was showing, well, we might get involved. But with the 3 buried and the 10 showing, there's just there's no value, I think, in getting involved. Well, that last couple of pots has put me up into first place now, 51.45 chips. So fairly happy about that, of course. It just goes to show how sort of close we are at this point in the tournament, though, because just a couple of hands took me from near the bottom to, well, mid-table anyways, to top. Looking to make a deep run here. Good friend of the stream, Steve Opick, made a big run last week, ended up second place, so hopefully Steve-O and I can meet on the final table and end up coming down to heads up. That would be cool. That would be very cool. Still 15 people left in the tournament. We're playing for that first place prize of $9 up top. Yeah, not much that you missed other than Hammer had to go to bed. Sure, Yaga's making a move with their small stack. I think Jones has decided that they're going to play back and make a stand. Severianen's in as well. Sure, Yaga's decided they're making that stand, I think. Well, no, they're thinking seriously now. They've hit the queen on 6th. Oh, and he folds out with 525 chips left. It's down to Jones's penny versus Severianen. Check on 7th, and it will go to Severianen. Big pot, that one. So 08 Katya is in second place in the tournament now, which is a name that frequent viewers or frequent players of this tournament will know. I think Katya's been in this tournament every night that we've streamed it. So very good, very consistent Razz player. Always has a pretty big stack. Six, seven, eight. Obviously I'll see another street if no one completes. But and I suppose at this point I'd have to call completions just for the odds, just for the sake of the odds. Steve-O's picked up a few chips, sitting in 8th place now, 35-35. You know what? I don't think I need to call those. Not with the raise and the re-raise. Re-raise from DBIM. Sure, Yaga's in for his tournament life. DBIM's not far off. Raising with a king showing. And he is now all in for his tournament life. Paired his king on 6th Street. 5th Street, I apologize. Pulls an ace on 6th Street. Shuryaga showing 7-5 deuce for 3. 7-4 deuce for Jones's penny. 6-3 ace for Severianin. Jones's penny looks to be taking it down, knocking out D-Bam and Shuryago to bring us down to 13 people left in the tournament. Double knockout by Jones's penny. That also vaults Jones's penny 2,000 chips above me into first place. It's the hand we'll get rid of at the earliest opportunity. It's a hand we desperately want to get rid of. Hilariously, it's a hand that could potentially win by the look of things. We're at a 10-8, which is not a horrible place to be. Yes, it was a hand that we did not want to be in from the start, and yet it was a hand that we ended up taking it down on 7th Street. How's that for Razz, ladies and gentlemen? From we're going to fold this at the earliest opportunity to, oh, I will put those 180 chips into my stack. Thank you very much. I think we're going to play this. The 8 is obviously higher than what Jones is playing, but our 4-3 are nut cards, so I think it's worth getting involved. I don't think I need to be fearful of Severianin's raise, especially not with Jones in there as well. I think we're both kind of looking to get Severianin to put a bunch of chips into a spot where they're not in good shape. Pairing the 3 bites. I certainly could bet with that. I don't think it's going to get a fold because I'm showing bigger cards than Sever is with the pair. So I think I'm just going to check behind and see what 7th brings. 7th brings me a 10. I think Sever's value betting a hand that's a 7 or better. I think that Sever's also bluffing paired hands here as well. So, I mean, I think it's sort of a 50-50 bet here. Am I going to make enough money on this? Is he bluffing enough times for this to be profitable? I think he probably is. So, I'm going to call and see. That time he wasn't. But I'm not terribly upset with that call. I mean, I think that he's going to be bluffing there enough where that call pays off. It doesn't have to pay off very often at the odds that I'm getting there. It's like, what, 200 into 2,000, so like 10 to 1 odds. It doesn't have to pay off very often for those to be worthwhile. Queen 7-9 is not really something that I need to get involved with, I don't think. Folding, folding, folding. Wait for a better spot. Dropped down to fourth with that loss to Severiana. Not too chuffed about that. It's, that's okay. We can get those chips back. Four of the top five right now are Canadians. Double Freak, saw him in the first night that we streamed, I'm pretty sure, and possibly last week as well. But we definitely seen him before. He's in fifth place with a 41.05. Great Princess in second, 46.35. Jones and Penny, 69.45 in first. And third place is Katja from Germany with 42.15. Good friend of the team, Steve-O Pick, is sitting down in 10th with 22.90 at the moment. Down to 13 left in the tournament now. Table split between 6 and 7. As it should be, our two lowest stacks are the two people sitting out right now. Einar is in 12th with 1465, and over on the other table, Bleak 623 is in 13th with 535. I'm going to see one more street here at least. I'm still pretty comfortable that the 764 is good. 7641, I'm still comfortable is good for a 4 card, so I'm going to be seeing at least another street to try to see if I can develop this into an actual 5 card hand. This pot is getting massive. That is like the gin card as far as I'm concerned. So I'm on a 67. The only one that might potentially be ahead of me, Great Princess, could be on a 65 to my 76. But I definitely think that I'm wanting to play this aggressively now because I'm drawing into a 64, which I think is definitely worth my playing. Missed the 64, so I'm on the 76. I don't think I can avoid putting chips in the pot at this point, and I think I'm going to take it down. Binkage! I think Severianen went a bit tilty on us there. I guess I'm not surprised to raise pre with the ace deuce 7. But then the rest of the draws were pretty bad. He ended up on an 8-7-6 deuce 1. Thank you, Steve-O. Thank you very much. That leaves 12 left in the tournament now. I have a 4,000 chip lead. That's almost 50% more than the. Actually, it's more than 50% more than the next person down, Jones and Penny. I'm gonna get out of that. The 6-7-8 is just not feeling right for me there. I mean, it's not a terrible hand, obviously, but I just feel like I'm gonna be playing behind the whole time. This one, on the other hand, I think we're gonna get involved with. Obviously, the queen is not something that we're terribly thrilled with, but the ace deuce are nut cards. Uh, Thank you very much, Steve. I'll have a look at that one in the boom, and I appreciate the very nice set of binkage there. So I'm really happy with my draw. Yeah, and I'm not surprised that Jones and Penny got the hell out of Dodge real quick with that one, with the way that one was developing. Sever Yannen's been on my case all night, being being aggressive towards me. So it was kind of fitting that they ended up giving a bunch of chips over to me on a hand where they went over aggressive on a hand that wasn't as strong as mine. Looks like they're going to get some back on this one, though. Still in, 22-30. I have to keep our eye on them. I think they're still a little tilted towards us. Certainly seems to be indicative of the play, the way they've been playing in some ways. Steve-O getting beat on 7th, he says in chat. It bites when that happens, Steve-O. I hate that. I've done it to a couple of people here a couple of times, but it's all been in situations where I've actually been in front for a good portion of the hand at least anyways. So ace deuce 4. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous little Razz hand. Question is, do we want to raise and cap pre-flop? I think against Jones and Penny, stacks are too big to be wanting to go pre-flop. Now is the time that we want to start putting money in, make them pay to draw. And I don't think we need to bet here. We can check here. Check here again because we're still technically behind, and they know that. We are now probably ahead. Yeah, Severian and tilting a bit, Lomax. Hey, I saw you in the chat of Jamie Staples the other day, so good to see you around. I was good to see you there. Yeah, it really sucks when that happens, Steve-O. Sorry to see you down so low. You'll get him back though. This could be the hand. Steve-O showing a 3-up. That's a nice starting hand. Nice place to start for a single card. I can't see the other cards that are down. So I can only stream cards up action by myself, of course. Clearly, he didn't like the other cards he had down on that hand. It's always nice when people go tilty a little bit against me because you can take chips off of them when you can notice it and sort of be aware of their activities. Um, I'm getting out of the hands early against Severianen when I don't have pretty massive hands or draws to get in with. Because I think they're a pretty good player. I just think that they're on a little bit of a tilt towards me now because of a couple of pots that we played against each other. This is the best starting hand in Razz possible. So I think I want to raise pre-flop with it. I don't think we need to bet here so much. Let's see what Fifth Street brings and go from there. We can now bet on Fifth Street and be more comfortable in getting a fold without bloating the pot when we're not necessarily going to be in great shape on future streets. Severianen's right back in the game from virtually last to third place now, 4,930 points, or chips. Why do I keep saying points? I don't know what the hell's going on. But, so yeah, right back, I had virtually killed Severianen. Down to under 1,000 chips, under 500 at one point, I think, and now back up to third place chip status. I think with the 9-8 up top, I certainly could see another couple of streets, but I'm already looking to be in relatively bad shape against both of these hands. So the ace-4 obviously draws out, but I'm expecting to go runner, runner, runner if I'm only going to use the ace-4, and that's probably too much. Otherwise, I'm sort of relying on the 8 to play. I think it's probably... Thanks very much, Lomex. Much obliged. We're going to do what we can. I'm liking my stack so far. Alrighty, looks like Steve-O's decided to make a stand. Showing a 3, he's drawn an 8 on 4th Street against 10-5, showing for Katya, and he's all in. Alrighty, good luck, Steve-O. Good luck all in. Oh, what draws? That was just brutal, Steve-O. That was just brutal. I mean, it's hard to describe how brutal seeing pair come out. So brutal, buddy. Yes, the Canadians are crushing Razz. The Canadians seem to really like playing this tournament. There are always a crapload of Canadians entered in this tournament. It's like 50% Canadians usually in this one. Alrighty, well, I suppose now that Steve-O is done, we don't need to put the other table up there anymore. It's interesting that Severianen's been moved off our table, so I'm going to go on a break, mute the mic, do my custodial things. I'll be back. Alrighty, I am back. I was sure that I sat out, or that it was already on break when I left, but it looks like it timed out for me completely. I've got 0 seconds left. Oh well. Sorry, everybody else at the table. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to stall out on you there. Steve-O getting eliminated at the end of that last before the break when just a brutal, brutal, brutal hand. Paired out 3 times. Well, I'm the chip leader. They can deal with it. Alrighty, since Steve-O busted, we'll get rid of that other table for the time being. I'm going to keep watching it just to see what's going on over there while we're playing, but I don't like we need to have it up on the stream. Probably nicer to see the full table that I'm on. This is a bring in fold hand most likely. This hand is developing better for me than it looked at the beginning, so we're going to take her down. It's good to see some people checking out the Razz action on Sunday night. Glad to have you here. If you haven't already followed me, click the follow button below below the screen here. As I like to say, anything but HoldEm is an arcade machine that runs on the quarters of your follows. Every follow you give me pumps a new quarter into that Pac-Man machine of anything but HoldEm. The ace is not enough to salvage this hand, really. Although, if we draw very low on 4th Street, We might consider continuing on this depending on what other people's draws are like, but it's really I mean we're basically our two throwaway cards are already out there with our queen queen. If it's a pair of deuces, at least one of the deuces play, but the queen's never really going to play, so I think we just have to get out of here. If we'd got to a free draw and drew low, we might continue with the hand, but I was pretty comfortable that every place that I bet in there was value. I came through hoping that Larissa was going to make a stand and that would give the two of us a better chance of knocking her out. But now that she's out and I've drawn a 10, I'm not really interested in going to war with Jones and Penny right now. At least not with that hand that I had. This hand is one that I'm more willing to go to war with somebody with. If I'm gonna have the snow cam up on the screen, I really should have a thermometer cam in the window as well, just letting you guys know what the temperature is outside. Obviously, I'm calling 10 chips. I'd be calling regardless against Larissa, but I'm obviously calling here, wanting to put them all in. Looks like we're going to take this pot down probably. Yes, looks like we're going to take it down. So that puts us down to 9 players left. We are on the final table bubble. Einar has managed to sit their way out almost to a final table from Denmark. That's remarkable. That's rather remarkable. Thank you, Steve-O. I am doing my best. Shaiko 125 from Russia is put in the Rays with the 5. We know we obviously don't beat the 5, but we've got 2 nut cards, so I think we're here for what we're doing. He's got no reason to know that we've paired our deuce. I think we're continuing here. That was a pretty crappy draw out for us. We were drawing live. And I think the chance of taking somebody out, I needed to do that. I could continue with a hand like this. The 7-ace isn't terrible. The 9 isn't even that terrible, but I just don't think it's necessary at this stage. Building a big stack is really two sides of a coin. Part of it is obviously building a big stack, but preservation of the stack is a key part of keeping your big stacks when you build them, and also a key part of building them, because if you don't have stack preservation in mind while you're building a big stack, you're going to keep losing chips out of that stack, and it's never going to get to the point where it's a big stack that you're building. So you're just going to be kind of running in place. So you need to be thinking about preserving what you have as well as gaining more. So it's kind of a 2-way street with that. 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 2- having a pretty good run of cards there for a while. That's one of the reasons why we amassed such a big chip stack. But that's reversed a little bit now. But I don't necessarily think that's only it. I think we made a couple of good plays. I think we've made a couple of good bets. I think we've recognized a couple of spots where people have been tilting against us and have been able to maximize our chip value in those spots. So I think it's been a reasonably good night so far. I'm pretty happy with the way I've been playing. I'm obviously raising this hand. This is the nut. This is the nut 3-card hand in Razz. There ain't nothing better than that right now. I'm not sure if Jones and Penny is just like disconnecting, or if they've actually got a couple of low cards down behind that queen that they're wondering about. Doesn't seem like any cards would be that much of a choice at that point. I don't necessarily think you're... So Einar is very close to done here. We're going to be at the final table very quickly because Einar is going to be blinding out here very shortly. The fact that we paired our 7 doesn't necessarily be a bad thing. This bet is probably not great, though, because I'm actually surprised that Jones and Penny folded that. If they'd stopped and thought about the fact, I mean, obviously they had paired something too, but if they stop and think about the fact that we're both showing the same hand, there's really not a lot of reason for them to fold there. I guess unless they think that I'm never making a move, which if they've been watching this table is clearly not the case. I've made moves in several spots and got caught with my pants, not just my pants down, with my pants half a block away. So I think I'm gonna try to bully this one down, see if Shaiko likes their other 2 cards. They don't. I think I'm gonna take it off Jones for now. Oh no, they called through. I think we're gonna take it with our 4th Street bet though for sure. We'll give this one to Shaiko. I don't really have anything that I want to contest it with anyways. So it was nice to see the Calgary Stampeders take down the Hamilton Tiger Cats for the 102nd Grey Cup today. If you're not from Canada, that last sentence made absolutely no sense to you whatsoever, and you have no clue what the hell I'm talking about, which is fine. That's cool. The Grey Cup is our championship football tournament, and it happened today. And my team, the Calgary Stampeders, was in it and won it, so, rah-rah. We're at the final table now, in first place, which is even more rah-rah, as Einar busted, finally blinded out in 9th place. Final table rundown has Katya, who we've seen bunches of times before in this Razz tournament on stream. Double Freak, who we've seen before in this Razz tournament on stream. Severianen is still alive and kicking on this table. It's rather remarkable, actually, that nice testament to their skill. If you remember correctly, we had Severianen down as low as 480 chips, I believe, at one point. Just about had them out of the tournament, and boom, right back in the mix of things. So I think that's a good raise by Jones and Penny. I think that Severianen is in bad shape here. Yep, I thought Severianen was in bad shape there. It's pretty nice to be sitting right on Severianen's left. Actually, we will know what they're doing pretty much all the time before we have to act, except when we do the bring in. That is pretty darn cool, I think, for our final table. Severianen, of course, being the one that's been the most active against us, we also know is a bit tilty at the moment against us. So, yeah, well, I mean, there's a certain point in time where stack preservation makes sense, but there's also a time when you need to put your chips in the pot because your hand is just too strong. Um, in a game like Razz, you're going to put chips in the pot on 3rd and 4th Street, and things aren't going to pan out sometimes. That's going to happen when you have hands. I usually like to go back and look at the history on those, and look at where I am on 3rd and 4th Street, and reassure myself that I'm ahead on those streets. And when I see that I was behind on those streets, I have to really start to rethink how I value and play the hands that I'm starting with. So I think it can be useful to I think it can be useful to do that. When you get sucked out on so often on 7th Street, it's just useful to go back and look and go, well, yeah, I was winning there, and then I'm suddenly not winning there. Well, okay, he's going to give me his money most of the time when that happens, so I'm pretty cool with that. Well, sometimes my pants have been up in this tournament. There's been a few times when my pants have been a couple of blocks away, and I've been very much caught with them in that state. We got a 4 showing. It's the second lowest card showing. Don't really like the rest of our cards, and we're so far early position that I think we're just gonna get rid of that. It's definitely a bluffable hand, though. Just probably not in that early a position. Yes, no, not soccer football, like American football. The kind of football where you don't use your feet very often, and the ball that you're using can only be very loosely described as a ball, which balls usually being round, and the ball in this case is not round. So yes, it's the kind of football that is very much not really foot or ball in any way. It was a pretty good game though. I missed the first quarter because I was streaming the weekly challenge, and I didn't want to interrupt the weekly challenge to watch the football game, so I missed the first quarter. But The rest of the game was pretty good. Stamps just about let it get away from them in the fourth quarter. Hamilton just about came back and took it, except for a particularly bad late hit by Hamilton. It might have gone the other way, and they might have been able to come back to tie it at least. So it was a good game. It was an interesting game for sure. Playing inside is kind of wimpy though. Last year when it was, I think it was last year that was in Saskatchewan and it was like 35 below. That's real Canadian football. I think we're playing this one. Severianen might well give us the rest of their stack, just for tilt's sake. That's obviously not the card I was looking for. None of these really are either. I mean, we might even be behind Severianen now, potentially. Wow, three of a kind deuces. It seems to happen so much more rarely in stud high than it does when you're playing Razz. Oh, full house. Well, hey, why don't we just throw a full house on top of that, right? I mean, what the hell? Why don't we just throw a full house on top of that? Obviously, I can't call with a full house in Razz. That's just silly. Why don't we just three of a kind deuces? Hell, here, have a full house. I think Mr. Wibbles probably should have called that one. I have a feeling that. Well, it's hard to say. I don't think Severianen's a bad player. I definitely think that they can be bluffing there. I also think that they could be making that bet with playing the king. No reason to get involved in this one. We still have a pretty comfortable lead. It's probably worth seeing how things kind of shake out with the rest of the table. Put pressure on when we have super strong hands and the right position to put pressure on. And then, well, not even super strong hands, but the right position to put pressure on, and some strength and value if we have to draw out a couple of times. Um, but otherwise, I mean, Severianen's all in now, so we're going to lose a couple of people, and that's going to change some of the chip stacks. And it's, um, obviously, I don't mind being the one to knock them out, but equally, I don't really mind so much if other people knock them out either. So down to 7 now that Severianen's busted in that hand. 3 places paid, of course. $9 up top for first, 540 for second, 360 for third, which is more than triple the buy-in. So 3x cash for third, pretty good. Yeah, I think you've definitely got a point on that, Steve-O, as far as the all-in sort of hero stuff in a tournament like this. I think that the value of your tournament life and of still having chips around to play in the next hand is higher than a lot of even professional tournament players today give it, I think. Um, but equally, I think that there are times when you've got to say the odds are the odds, and putting my money in the pot right now is the most likely way that I am going to be winning these tournaments over time. So I need to be doing it in this spot as well. One of the things about the odds that we have to remember is that it only works when you play by them religiously. If I'm getting 7-1 pot odds with my big blind, I'm going to go into a no limit hold'em example here, but if I've got 7-1 odds in my big blind call with 7 deuce, I'm supposed to make that call. Okay. And if I make that call every time I've got 7-1 odds in the big blind with a hand like 7 deuce, over time I'm going to end up getting more chips back than I put in the pot, is the way that pot odds work. But as soon as you start picking and choosing your times of where you're going to play that 7 deuce with 7-1 odds and where you're going to fold that 7 deuce when you get 7-1 odds, you're screwing up the odds at that point. You have to be playing every one of those situations in order for the odds to actually work out for you, because you may be folding the one time out of 7 that you're going to hit your 7 deuce on the flop and take down a big pot on the hand, right? So it's one of those situations where you've sort of got to grumble and put your money in anyways, when the odds make sense for your hand, or when it says this is where the odds say you're gonna get your best money back. You sort of have to grumble and put your money in anyways, even in the tournament situation. But I agree with you that there are places where you need to also look at the situation and say, you know what, I can fold right now and play another hand. And I think that the value of that playing, still having chips to play another hand, is much higher than a lot of tournament players today give it credit for, I think. My problem is I'm not really sure how to assign a numerical value or a dollar value to the value of still having chips in the next hand. That's where I'm really running into it. So it's hard for me to figure out how much to weight it, because I don't really know how to figure out what the dollar value of that is. We've got dealt a lot of crap in the last couple of minutes, so talking about other things has been good, actually. I think 2 cards to the nuts is probably strong enough to play on a 6-handed table. I didn't actually notice when we lost Webb, so I should be paying more attention, I guess. I was probably talking about in this past little bit, but you're going to see one more street, and that's probably enough for me in this hand. So we've lost our chip lead. Catch is up top now with 16 to 70. 230 as we've paid the blinds in this hand. Four of the final 6 players are Canadian. Seven of the original 18 that sat down at the table were Canadian. Double Freak I know is a pretty strong Razz and stud high-low player. I actually see them more often, or have seen them more often on the cash tables, stud high-low and Razz cash tables, than I do over here in this tournament. One of these days I'm going to pull up some stud high-low, maybe a Badoogie tournament. Or cash table, I mean, and do some cash. There's not a lot of difference, really, in terms of the specific hands and the way that you would play hands. The big difference, of course, in cash poker is that every hand is kind of like a universe unto itself, and although you take patterns and things away from one hand into the next to help you make better decisions in the next hand, there's no concept of your life in cash poker, which is what I was talking about earlier with your tournament life having some value. In cash poker, there is no value to your life because your life simply involves walking up to the cashier's cage and buying other, rebuying for your stacking it. And doing that as many times as you think is necessary to do what you need to do. So it is quite different in that sense, and I do think that for that reason, although we talk about pot odds and we talk about all this stuff, you can't always religiously play them in a tournament setting, because if you do, you're simply not taking the value of that life into account. And as I said, I don't have a number for that value. I'm not even sure how to work out the number for the value yet. I'm thinking of it, but what I know is that there is a value. The value is above 0, and it therefore needs to be taken into account when you're looking at hands. So we might not even be drawing live at this point, but I think we have to be in the hand regardless. And I think we still have to be either letting them double up or, wow. We just can't draw. We're shit today. All I had to do there was draw out something lower than a queen. No, lower than a 10. Well, that's 2 5s. Fight it out. I'm still sitting third, so I mean, I'm obviously not doing terribly. I wasn't really raising that on the strength of the 9-7. I was raising that purely on the 4 up and looking at the rest of the cards and seeing that I was almost certainly better. Well, I was better than everybody except for Freak, who I was tied with, and with his stack, unless he's sitting on like a 4-3 deuce or a 4 deuce ace, or maybe something like a 6-4-3, he's not gonna get involved with me. So that was why I threw that raise in. For the record, it was not a value so much as it was a bluff on the fact that it was a 4 showing. Jones and Penny and I are very, very, very close for second and third right now. Catch is still way up top with 17,000 chips in first. Mr. Wibbles is a couple of thousand chips behind Jones and Penny and myself in fourth. Probably not getting involved with this sort of hand. I'm thinking that Wibbles or Freak is probably going to have this one down. Shaiko might, but I'd need to have I'd need to have nut cards behind the 6 to be wanting to raise in that position. Wibbles, I can certainly see raising the 3 without very good cards behind him. Sure, I'll have a look. I didn't know that Boom let us play. I didn't know that Boom accepted stud or Razz hands. But yeah, if it gets up there, I'll certainly have a look, and I can certainly look at it for you. I'm going to continue for a street on this one, even more so now. I mean, Catch obviously could be playing the 97. I'm obviously now playing the 85. She could now be playing the 76. But I'm still gonna see this through, I think. I didn't actually mean to raise that. That was a misclick. But I need to call. Needed that 3 to beat me, too. She needed that 3 to beat me. Yeah, because I was playing the 85, and she would have been on an 87 if she didn't hit that 3. Oh well, that happens. That's Razz, folks. I was ahead until she hit her 3. I'm liking the 5-3. I think I want to see 4th Street before I put a ton of chips in. I'm probably not going to put any chips in here. I'm probably just going to fold out, I think. I mean, I think that my odds at this point are pretty low to draw out to a winning hand. I've got to be counting on catch it to draw badly. I don't even think drawing good is enough for me at that point. I think I have to be relying on catch it to draw badly. It's never really something that you want to be doing. Um, Relying on your opponent to draw badly in order to win the hand. Uh, if it's sort of obvious that you're behind, you probably shouldn't be chasing the hands. The only time you sort of chase quote unquote hands is when you're maybe, let's say you've got a king 5-4-3, and your opponent is playing a 10-9-8-7 up. Well, yes, I mean you're drawing to a better hand than they can possibly be playing, so you're gonna play that king. But it's only because you've got the 5-4-3 as well. So, oh right, the hottest 22. Sure, yeah, I'll have a look at that. No problem. I will have a look, no problem, and see if there's anything that we could do differently. I'm liking the ace deuce. Obviously, I'm not thrilled with the queen as well. The question is this one that I want to go with? You know what? I think that I'd rather go with something where my big card is lower, even if my other two cards are a little higher. See, this is the one that I'm going to go to town on. The Shaiko is still below me, so I mean I could in theory wait for Shaiko to bust, but that doesn't really get me anywhere because it's only 3 paying. So leveling up at this point now only gets me to the bubble spot. So we're gonna go to town here. I suppose I could have played that one as well. I'm not sure what Shaiko would have done when it got around to them. Obviously, I'd like to play the ace-3, but again, with the jack up top, it's just not a strong enough hand for me to be putting chips in at this point. Um, would be nice if I could put some pressure, if I could be the one to put pressure on Shaiko. But again, I'm not really getting the cards when we're seeing the people in later position. To me, closer to Shaiko getting the larger or getting the smaller cards, the bigger hands. King 10's obviously not something that I'm gonna put too much effort or chips into. Certainly, catcher Wibbles are going to take this one down. I think. Wouldn't be surprised to see catch in myself. end up heads up here. Wouldn't be surprised to see Catch and Wibbles end up heads up here either. Which I would be surprised if Jones and Penny ends up heads up. Be a little surprised if Shaiko ends up heads up. And frankly, I'm a little surprised if I do as well. But there's no reason to count myself out at 1625 chips right now. I think it's a stack that there's certain kind of tournament player would be terrified of and would be panicking with. But it's just not necessary to panic at this point yet. There are hands I'm going to want to put my chips in with, and when I see them, I will do that. But until then, I can sort of, you know, at least for another few minutes, I can kind of sit back and wait for the hand that I need to get. If it folds around to me, I'm absolutely raising Catchy here. I don't think I'm gonna fight with Jones on this. I think I'm gonna let the three of those three big stacks go at it with this. I actually thought Catcher was gonna get involved there, for some reason. We do have to do something soon with our stack, obviously. We're not gonna we're not gonna get anything out of this just by sitting around doing nothing. That said, we're also not going to get anything out of this by putting our chips in bad. So we have to be fairly careful. I can't really expect that many people to fold to my raises, um, unless I'm being very tight. And I think that with a bunch of folds in front, when I do have a chance to raise to open raise, um, I'm probably going to get a lot of respect for it. I'm obviously getting out of this. I think that Shaiko can go out here, which will leave us with just me remaining. That's kind of what I'd like to see happen. That's what looks like, which is what's going to happen now. Yeah, good game, Shaiko. Good game, Shaiko, 125. So we're down to four-handed. I am obviously the small stack in this. So I have to do something soon with this. And this is the hand that we do it on. I think regardless of what Wibbles has got with his deuce, I think this is the hand that we have to do it on. Good luck me. Oh, we're behind. Wow. Suckout City. Binkage. I'll take that one. I will take that one. Serious bankage on that one. I mean, obviously wasn't in horrible shape on in the on Third Street there, but I really did sort of suck that one out pretty badly. 7 queen 10. I probably don't need to get involved with that one. I don't need to get involved quite as much anymore right off. I can sort of play my spots a bit more now with the stack that I have. I'm obviously still in fourth, so I still need to gather chips. But I'm not in any real danger of blinding out or busting out because I'm putting bring-ins in. So I have some life that I can work with. I think Katya takes this one down. Got a ways to go on our stake levels yet. 10 minutes left in this 300, 600 level. Or sorry, 600, 1200 level. I get rid of this, I think. The queen 9 is just a little too weak for my taste at this point. The ace deuce, on the other hand, is something that I'm certainly interested in doing. So I think we're going to put a bunch of money in here. So I see a few people checking the stream out. Here playing the Sunday Razz 110 Razz tournament that started about 2.5 hours ago now at 9:20 p.m. Mountain Time. We're down to the final table, four-handed. Only 3 people pay, so the next person out is actually going to be the Bubble Boy. And even though I said I was going to go with this hand, now that I've seen the rest of the action on the table, the fact I got that king back there, I'm getting out of here. I'm just going to give up those 600 chips and let these two fight it out and go from there. Talking about the value of that tournament life again, that's an example of where the ace deuce might have said, you know, odds are to pile your chips in there. I decided that I'd make it to the break and move on from there. Thank you, Steve-O. Much obliged. I am going to take a quick step off and do my bathroom break and so on. Get some water, and I will be back later. Probably should have played that hand, to be perfectly honest with you. I was a bit nitty to fold that. But I think there might be better spots to work on. Like this one, 8-3 ace. I think this is probably where I'm piling my money in. Not hugely surprised to see Katja come in behind me with the ace. Ooh. A little bit of binkage there. Nice to have a bit of binkage there. So much needed binkage, I might add, given that we would have been out of the tournament without said binkage. We're getting out of this hand pretty much at the earliest opportunity presented to us. I don't think it's quite so bad that we need to open fold at any point, but we certainly are folding to any bat. Pairs and pairs. It's interesting that Wibbles is betting into this. Jones clearly seems to have the best hand at the moment. I would say that's still the case, that Jones has the best hand with a 76 versus the Wibbles 86. And Jones is in with, as I said, a 76. So Wibbles is down to his last 150 chips, which means we're in third now. So quite probable to squeak into a money spot now and maybe parlay that into taking this tournament down. This is maybe a nice example of how survival actually puts you in a position that you didn't necessarily think you were ever going to be in. I mean, there's been about half an hour now where I've been down. Well, maybe not half an hour, but there's been, I've been down very low in chips, and I mean, we're at the stage now where Wibbles is in for his tournament life, and I'm pulling down a min cash quite a lot of times. Looks like Jones is definitely drawing out a decent low. And there we go. In the money. So that's 2 weeks in a row that anything but HoldEm has final tabled and cashed this tournament. Last week it was Steve-O. This week it's yours truly. Let's see how deep a run we can actually make in this. I am technically ahead of Catch at the moment. Um, Alrighty, Lomex. We'll see you. We'll see you again soon, buddy. Thanks for thanks for stopping by. And I mean, I'm still. He's playing a king, and I'm playing a queen, so I'm still actually ahead now. Um, and I think that because I'm ahead, I'm going to keep playing like I'm ahead. I don't necessarily think I'm still ahead always, but I think I'm ahead enough here to get pots like that on 7th, even when my 7th doesn't necessarily look quite right. Go give this one to Katya. We still look like we could be ahead on this. That's why I'm still betting, even though we know that we're probably not ahead. And it paid off again in that case. I don't think that's something that I can do very, very, very often, but I can do it a reasonable amount, I think. I think I'm definitely going to play this one semi-aggressively. That actually puts us ahead, that draw of Jones. Our 86 to his 95. This is a 76 to potentially on a 5 for Jones. But clearly that was not the case. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I mean, I think that there was at least one hand where I got pretty lucky on my 7th street. But that said, I mean, there have been hands that other people have got lucky on their 7th streets against me. So, um, I mean, I think that's just going to be part of the game. And I think there's been a couple of spots where I'm making pretty astute plays and astute reads to, sort of either keep myself in or get an extra bet into the pot or whatever. And I'm clawing away a little bit at Katya. That's the key. Katya's got the massive stack of chips in front, so therefore they're the ones that we need to attack when we can. Of course, I suppose it works both ways. We want to attack at Jones as well, um, because Joneson is the one that can level us up to a guaranteed second place cash when we bust Joneson, um, and put us pretty much level in chips with Katya when we go into heads up. So probably goes both ways. We probably want to attack both of those players, but Catch is where we're going to get all the chips from. I'm happy to let those two fight it out with the hand that I have. I think that's a raise hand. I'm actually seemed like pretty much of an insta raise from Katya there, which means they had the button clicked, which probably means their hand is fairly strong. I think. Let him take it this time. That said, it may have been clicked insta-raise to raise into Jones's bring-in by default. Yeah, I probably had to rethink that one. It was probably strong enough that I could have actually played that last hand maybe to the insta-raise. Because, yeah, that was the same deal. So I think he's got that checked to raise into Jones's bring-in. The pair at 8, we're getting out of that. We might play if it was a 4-3 or something like that, and we were still on, or we were hitting a 4-card low at that point. But I don't think we were doing much. Um, I think even if Jones comes in, I think we're raising this pot anyways. Yes, we got a pair of threes, but the 3-1 is just too strong to get away from, and Jones is small enough that I think we need to put as much pressure on him as we can at this stage. That's obviously a gin card for us. Wow, Queen 6, that's a good one. King, bad one. Live by the sword, die by the sword. That's gonna happen. This should be a fold, in theory. Um, Gonna check behind at this. I'm feeling a check raise coming on, and I can't really withstand a check raise. This could be the hand where we end up heads up. And it is. We are heads up. It's a good game, Joneson. Well fought. Good luck, Katya. So far, heads up has been pretty much dominated by Katya, just based on the cards. I've been doing the bring-ins. She's been doing the raising. We've been doing the folding. That was a rare pot that was just handed to us. Gonna need to chip away with these small stacks and pulling in these small pots as much as possible here. I mean, obviously, I think the big pots are going to be important, but I think just chipping away at these little ones when I can is going to be a vital. It's going to be a vital way of um, taking this down. I could have raised that one, but the 9 to 10, catch is probably going to play back on that. Definitely raising. Basically, any card that we show that's lower than the card that Katya brings in on, we're going to be raising, as Katya will do to us in these situations, kind of irregardless of what's behind. It's really going to be the other person that makes the decision on whether their back cards are good enough to play or not. It's usually going to be the bring-in person. So we're still ahead, King 10 to King Jack. So, I mean, I'm still going to put money in this pot, I think. And we're still ahead at this point. We're now 10-6 to King Jack. I think I'm going to see a street on this. Going to obviously keep seeing streets on this since it's developing so well. Clawing our way back, we're close to even. About 5,000 behind now, but we're getting there. These are the sort of dynamics you're going to see a lot of in Razz, where it's just bring in, raise, fold, bring in, raise, fold, bring in, raise, fold. Razz heads up can be a little bit mind-numbing at times. So a lot of it does go fairly predictable, but I'm having trouble finding my buttons at this point. Fast west or east west. Good to see you here, buddy. It is Razz. The point of the game is to get the lowest 5 cards you possibly can. 5, 4, 3 deuce ace of any suit is the best hand you can get in this game. So that's what we're shooting for. Now that we're heads up, the hands are going to be a little bit weaker. Actually, quite a bit weaker than that in a lot of cases. And you're not actually even going to see us get to a lot of showdowns at this point, heads up. Tournament's been running for just about, actually exactly 3 hours now, according to the tournament clock. And it's down to heads up. Second place is paying out $5.40. First place is paying out $9. Not thrilled by pairing my 6, obviously. This is just going from bad to worse, so we're going to get out of dodge on this one and try for another hand. We're pretty comfortable piling chips into this pot. And we've taken the chip lead. The first time in heads up that we've had the chip lead. Catch has been ahead of us the whole time before that. So this is our first time in the chip lead. Be nice to take advantage of this and build up a bit of a lead. I think I'm still with the jack, drawing a little bit better than he potentially is. We are on a jack 9-8-6-3 now, which I think is better than what he's likely playing. We're now on a 10-9-8. Catcher could obviously be playing an 8 potentially, but I think I have to call this. And the 8 is what Catch is playing. It was a good hand. I got to call there because if Catch is not playing the 8, which is the best possible hand that Catch could have been playing, then they're playing a jack, which I beat. So I pretty much have to call there. I mean, it's only the absolute best possible combination of cards there was giving them the pot, and that's what she ended up having. So expect a call. I'm still feeling like I have the best hand here, but we're just gonna do some pot control here. I'm not so convinced that I have the best hand anymore. I'm gonna see one more river. So we're at 8-6-3, no 9-8-6-3 deuce. I'm gonna check behind because I don't really think that anything worse is calling, and I don't think that anything better is folding. So moved into 1,000, 2,000 stakes now, so things are getting a little bit more serious. This is not going to last a huge amount of time longer, I don't think. We're going to end up piling chips into a pot here pretty quick, I think. No, paired cards are bad. Paired cards, basically, I'm looking for the 5 lowest cards I can possibly get. So 5-4-3 deuce ace is the best hand. So anytime I pair a card, it gets bad for my hand. Anytime I draw things like kings or tens or things like that, it's bad for my hand. So I'm looking for the 5 lowest cards possible. Being that we're down at heads up now, it's not really going to be super strong hands all the time. We're gonna see wins with pretty weak hands at times, I think here. Um, the last hand that gets played though is probably gonna be 2 pretty big hands against each other at this stage of the game. Something like this could be it with a 5 versus a deuce. Yes, Razz is, of course, played as a stud, 7-card stud variant, or we're playing for the low pot instead of the high pot. I can play with some pairs, obviously. I only need 5 cards out of the 7 to play, but the more pairs you have, the worse off you are. Part of the dynamic of Razz play is always going to be that the high card brings in, the low card raises, and the high card folds. It's obviously doesn't happen in every hand, but there's going to be probably 85% of hands are going to run down that way. That was a bluff on that 7th Street for the record. I was pretty sure I wasn't ahead. I was just trying to get a fold out of her. I should have known better. I'm going to play this hand because of the deuce 3 back. Those are obviously nut cards, and I've got a 3rd nut card now. So I am going to see another street. I don't like the queen, obviously. That's paired my queens now. Those 2 cards basically are my dead cards. I need to draw runner, runner, low card to have a reasonable hand. That's not in the range because the worst hand he could be playing, well, it's not the worst hand he could be playing, but I mean, 7 is what I would be looking at to be ahead of, and I'm never going to be ahead of that with my 9, so I'm out of here. So I'm raising the 9 almost almost regardless. You know, it's quite possible Katya was ahead there. It didn't look that way from my board, and therefore I was able to get the fold there when I necessarily wasn't necessarily the one with the best cards. Clawing our way back again. Still got a long ways to go to get even again. I think because of the king, I'm going to get away from this. Without the king, with say a 10 or a 9, I might have actually gotten into that heads up. So he's got to be playing his 9, or she's got to be playing her 9 to be ahead of me here. So I think I'm gonna throw money in, and the 9 is what she was playing. Given our boards, if I were her, I would have raised that. So I'm surprised she didn't get a bit more value out of that pot, frankly. But Not really drawing out to anything better than a jack, so I am going to get out of this hand. Chip in a chair, that's what I always say. We've definitely got a chance to take this one down. Just being heads up is a bit surprising, actually, given that early on it was pretty crippled at certain points. Steve-O, you sound bitter. You sound like you're speaking from experience when you talk about that. That was a pretty brutal way to end the tournament for you, buddy. Binkage. Clawing our way back up again. Yes, east-west. A pair of deuces loses to a king, queen, jack, 10-9. Um, but any pair of deuces beats a pair of threes, fours, fives, sixes, whatever. So it does play poker hand that way, although pairs are rarely going to win the day in a Razz game. It's almost always going to end up with a low hand that wins, not pairs. This is one of those hands that could actually go to the mat potentially. So I was definitely check calling that. I was surprised to get an insta fold out of that, frankly. Two, three, four, five. That's a nice hand. Don't have to worry about straights in the Razz, so we're going to keep betting aggressively there. I'm going to be calling if he goes up, I think. The 96 isn't terrible to start here, but I think we're done when we draw a jack there. We're done. We're out. Can wait for better spots. This would be the spot we're waiting for. This would be the spot we're waiting for. Come on, Katya. Pile some chips into this pot. Come on, Katya. Raise me. Pile some chips into this pot. Katya's too smart for that. Tough player. This has definitely been a tough heads up. I've only been in the lead for a very short period of time. Catch has had the chip lead for basically 95% of the heads up time. It's definitely definitely not been an easy day of it for me since we got heads up. Thought for sure this was going to be over by 1 a.m. my time, but I'm wondering now, actually. It seems to me that we don't want to die. Neither of us wants to die in this game. It seems inevitable that we're going to get into a big hand at some point and just end up piling our stacks into the middle. I have the nuts for the record. 5, 4, 3, deuce, 1. The queen and 8 do not play. Chip leader again for the second time in this tournament. We're going to be calling if they had raised. Wow, 2 folds right off the bat. To 12-24 now. It's getting expensive to play. So that means that I have 10 big bets, roughly. Katja has about 8 big bets. What that means is on any given hand, if we capped out the betting rounds, we would be all in long before we got to 7th Street. I'm pretty happy I was ahead now. When I bet on 5th Street, I wasn't that comfortable that I was ahead. When I bet on 6th Street, I was pretty comfortable I was ahead. This is the biggest chip lead that I've had so far in the tournament, I'm pretty sure. Well, since we come heads up, for sure. I had a pretty big chip lead early on in the tournament as well, or earlier on. But I think this is the biggest one I've had since we've been heads up. This may well be a chance for me to put some pressure on and build a bigger stack over here. Increase my lead. I'm calling behind with this with the 4-6. There's no way they know that I pair the 6, so I can still play that 6 showing on my board as a good low card. You're only picking 5 cards out of your 7-card hand, East-West, so you're picking your lowest 5 cards. So you can get away with having a couple of pairs and still pull in a low hand. Like, I'm still going to play this because my 3s, right now I'm playing 8, 7, 4, 3, and hoping for a fifth low card that I can play that doesn't pair. I want to make Katya pay to draw to 7th Street. That's nice. That's a nice card for us. So that gives us an 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, and we ignore this 3 and this king. Just to sort of explain the hand to you, East-West. So the pair of threes did not hurt us in that situation because we could make a hand out of our other cards. Just need to keep putting pressure on every time I have a lower card than Katya does when they bring in. I just have to keep pounding. In a situation like this, I think I have to pound on the deuce as well, even though my back cards aren't that good. I don't think that I need to give Katya any more chips, though, at this point, so I'm just going to fold out. It's a failed experiment. Let it go. Let's move on to the next hand. Yeah, exactly. Well, pairs are bad in the sense that if the best low hand you could make is a pair of deuces, well, it beats any king high, or I mean, it loses to any king high hand. So pairs are bad in that sense. But you're right. Really, the thing about hitting a pair on 4th or 5th Street is that you've just wasted a card basically because that card is not playable and you're not gonna nothing's gonna happen ever with it. There's a hand coming up. Hopefully, when it comes up, it'll explain this whole concept a whole lot better. So we're pretty close to having it taking it down here, but we've been in the same situation in reverse, and I've managed to come back from it. So there's no way that I'm counting Catchy out at this point. There's no way that I'm assuming that I'm going to be winning anything at this point either. Um, I'm betting because he paired his threes. Yes, exactly. There you go. Now you got it. Now you got her, East. You got her figured out. This could be the hand, folks. No. But we're definitely grinding her down. 747. Get the airplane hand to start. I think I'm going to run this one out, see what we pull out. And that's the game. Good game to Katja. Good game to Jones and Penny, who came in third. Katja came in second for 540. $9 down for me in first place. Mr. Wibbles was our bubble boy in fourth. So that was a fun game. It was nice to take it down. We had a big lead, sort of in the mid stages of the tournament. We got hammered a couple of times. Um, we got hammered a couple of times to be quite low. At one stage, we were down under 1,000 chips. I'm pretty sure. And boom, we're right back into it, and we end up taking it down. So kind of nice to do that every once in a while. I'm glad you could join me here on Anything But Hold'em. Nice to see a bunch of people sitting in watching for the win. Great to see you. Click the follow button if you haven't already done so. We play this Sunday Razz every Sunday night starting at 9:20, which is about 4 hours ago now, 3.5 hours ago. Um, So we do that every Sunday. Sundays are a big day. We actually stream quite a bit during Sundays, but I stream on the other days as well. So follow me, and you will hear or you'll get tweets about new streams that I'm putting out. So you can come and check that out. We play lots of different poker games here. We play Razz, we play Stud, we play Omaha, we play 5-card draw. Basically, what we do here is play anything but Hold'em. So I hope you had a good night. Hope you enjoyed our Sunday Razz, and we'll see you next time. I'm out.